Get into the world of celebrities and Bravo Labs with What the Reality with me, Cassie Roberts. I discuss the mess of it all, from reality TV, Hey Housewives, to iconic pop culture moments in the making. We are talking about it all. Don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and a comment wherever you listen to your podcast. Welcome to the pod. You are listening to What the Reality with me, Cassie Roberts, one of your favorite reality TV podcasts. What was that? I was like, reality? What was that? Guys, it is hot. It is hot. As some of you know, some of you may not know, I still live at home and it gets hot. Okay. It is 80 degrees. It is May 15th. I'm recording this on May 15th. This will be out for your Friday episode. This is a hot day. Unexpectedly, did not know it was supposed to get this hot. How are you guys doing? I got a new webcam. Quality on my Mac, not the best. If you guys hear, I do have the fan on, just facing me to make sure I cool off. But I do have a new webcam. Let me know how this video quality looks. I think it looks really good. I said that the last time, but I think it looks really good. I don't know. Okay. We ran into some technical difficulties. So yes, we got the new webcam. I think the quality looks really good. It looks better than my Mac quality. So that is on period. This episode, your Friday episode, there has been a lot of news from Diddy. Of course, we're going to be talking about that, to Halle Bailey, to Chris Brown. This is more so like a celebrity episode because I rarely talk about Bravo. I'm going to talk about The Valley and Summer House, of course, because I did watch those today. And of course, I have some thoughts. Like, of course I do. But yes, this is going to be mostly just a celebrity episode. There's just so much celebrity news, and we have to talk about like the Diddy of it all because that is happening right now. Also, what is happening, I'm not really going to touch on it, but Kim Kardashian's trial is also happening right now. It's happening in Paris. No one's really talking about it, and it's because we're all focused on the Diddy of it all. Now, I have a degree in media and culture. I did take a lot of journalism classes, so I had to dig into my investigative journalist skills to get you guys this information and this tea. Why is my webcam like flickering in and out? I hope it doesn't do that the whole episode. But I want to get into the Diddy of it all just to start. I mean, we might as well. Hope you guys are good because this episode will be jam-packed with a lot of crap and just stuff unexpectedly. Starting off with the Diddy trial, of course, for our reality topics. So the Diddy trial, obviously he is on trial currently for sex trafficking and racketeering charges. And Cassie has finally taken the stand. And she had a lot of revelations. There was a lot of information that we did not know. Just things you can't even imagine were that bad is bad. I'm talking about details from the freak offs. I'm talking about details from their meeting initially. So I did bullet point some of the things that were like the most important that I did come across in my extensive note taking. And yeah, so I think this is day 4. She's currently on cross-examination. By the next episode, for our Real Housewives of Atlanta recap, I will be talking about her cross-examination. But I really wanted to take this time to just talk about some of the biggest things. So starting off with their relationship, which is just beyond me. So they met initially when she was 19 years old, and he was 38 at the time. No. He would have been 36 at the time, I think. They didn't start dating until she was 21 though. And then he was 38. So we already have that setting the tone. That was a 14-year age gap. However, what I did find very interesting while I was researching all of this and just keeping up, this was not her first, huge age gap relationship. She got introduced through Leslie, and I'm blanking on the first name. Wait, I'm blanking on his first name. Let me look this up really quick. Okay, she got introduced first through Ryan Leslie. So that was the producer that introduced her to Diddy. And Ryan Leslie was 10 years older than her at the time. So she was already in a relationship with him. So I don't think this was a red flag for her, or we don't know, or maybe like for her parents, or like, okay, like now she's dating Diddy, or like it was very hush hush when she turned like 21. Diddy had actually, which is something that a lot of abusers end up doing, they make you very uncomfortable in public and they kind of just like plant these unexpected scenes of romance on you when you aren't expecting it. So he did plant a kiss on Cassie at her 21st birthday in the bathroom. I think they were in the bathroom or something. He placed it there, and she literally describes it. She literally ran out instantly. She was so confused because he had been very supportive through her career because she was already in the limelight at 19. She was trying to get out there. And he was very supportive after a bad television appearance gone wrong or something had went wrong. Diddy had been very supportive, a nice friend to lean on. It was not romantic until she turned 21. So then there was a lot of dating rumors as well, a lot of speculation, like are Diddy and Cassie dating? That was a lot of speculation back then. So at the 21st birthday, which he did bring a bunch of celebrities and stuff to, it kind of was like those dating rumors were confirmed or not. I don't know. And then we get at 22, she experienced her first freak off, y'all. And as described, a freak off is a very performative, very drug fueled, very calculated. It's like a music video that Diddy's producing. It is these performances and sexual intimacy moments that are acted out through Cassie and an escort. They're acted out through her. And this escort, they would find escorts from multiple places online, Craigslist. I know they mentioned Cowboy Angels or something. And she even described him saying that he would prefer a lot of escorts that were black and had big D's. Fill in the words. This is clearly going to be marked explicit because of what we're getting into, y'all. So that's what he preferred. And a lot of times it was Cassie booking the hotel rooms, the escorts, and she would go under different names, aliases, as he would. I think one of his was Frank White, and she would go under different ones. And she basically would have to like investigate them and just make sure they are not a cop. So, and I think they would all remain masked or something, but like we knew who it was. So one of the requirements at these freak offs was 10 bottles of baby oil per session, y'all. And sometimes if that was not enough, they would use lubricant. That is how serious these were and orchestrated these were. These were very like, you had to have your lines in order. You had to have your places in order. You had to be in position for him. And he would literally direct the whole freak off. And these freak offs started happening so oftenly that they used to become so dehydrated that they would need to recover the next day. Cassie had no time for her music career when she was doing this stuff. She was a full-time freak off member. She didn't have time to grind in her career because these were her life. And then on the off days, you're trying to get normal. A lot of these as well, I don't think she was sober for not near one. She did not want to be there mentally. Can you blame her? She did not want to be there mentally. She didn't want to be there clearly physically. And also she was only doing this to please her man. So her man at the time. Diddy and her had a very okay, fine, whatever you would call it, relationship initially. She didn't experience a darker side of him until the freak off started happening. But before then, I mean, it took him a year to introduce it to her. So it didn't take him long to introduce it. But she described the relationship as very loving. They had a very, like I said, normal relationship, whatever you want to call a 14-year age gap as normal. I don't know. That don't sound normal to me. But it didn't get chaotic, obviously, until the freak off started happening. And when she didn't want to do it, she would tell him, but then she would be met with, a bunch of rage texts, a bunch of blowing up her phone. She was always being watched, all of this stuff. She really didn't have a say into what she could do. And the only reason she was doing these things was to appease him. And she didn't want him to go out and seek it elsewhere, essentially. Also, guys, you got to remember, this is a young, very influential woman. Like she even describes, like, when they had their first freak off, he's the one that introduced her to oral after her 21st birthday. Like, she was not very experienced in, SX, because she was just younger. She was younger. He introduced her to all this stuff, which is what a lot of abusers do. They will groom you. She was being groomed that all of this was okay. He also didn't even call these freak offs at first. He called these acts of voyeurism. So that's that. Okay, so let me go back to this. So she also admits to taking pills. She said her and Diddy became very dependent on painkillers during this time because they both were just high out of their mind, y'all. So she admits to taking pills, opioids, during these performances, MDMA and ecstasy. Like, she was never sober during these. So what else did I want to mention? One of the freak offs lasted for 4 days, y'all. One time, like, it lasted so long that the next day they needed IVs. And a lot of times for these freak offs, like I said, the baby oil, they would dirty up the hotel room so much where they would be charged an insane amount of fee. Like, there was one time they damaged the hotel room so much that the hotel said, we can't even repair this. Like, you need to pay us to get a whole new room, essentially. Like, the furniture it was all destroyed. And a lot of times there would be blood everywhere. TMI, y'all. That's why we're starting with the Diddy stuff, because I want to get to the lighter stuff, clearly. But there would be like blood everywhere because she was expected to do freak offs on her period, which is just beyond me, really beyond me. Also, a lot of times these were videotaped, and later we see he would use these as blackmail towards her. And if she didn't want to do something, or if they were arguing, or, he's trying to control her, he's like, I have the tapes, I'm going to release them, XYZ this day. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so then what else do we have? Cassie also admits when, like, one of her revelations is like, which I was genuinely shocked, was that she just got a bunch of UTIs and like sores in her mouth and her tongue. She didn't mention any STDs, and then I'm just shocked she only got a UTI. But she said those were so frequent that the antibiotics stopped working because she was always getting a UTI. What else happened? She said, so yeah, at some point, obviously, we know their relationship turned very dark. TMZ released the full elevator video. It's a 15-minute long video, and that was actually from one of them coming from one of the freak offs, and she's trying to escape him. But they released the whole 15-minute video. So a lot of times his method of abusing her would be stomping her out, which we do see in that elevator video. He would punch her, he would slap her, he would push her, knock her down. When he didn't get his way, or sometimes she said it was so unpredictable. Like, when she would talk with a producer, he called her like a SLT, fill in that vowel. It was very unpredictable. So she just never knew what was going to make him tick, which is why she was always trying to make him happy. And I know she also said that she did not tell her she didn't talk to any of his like employees about the freak offs, like, even though some of them were there also helping her planning. Like, it was just very a mentally toxic, abusive, physically abusive situation. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Some other revelations before we get into a next topic, because I do not like talking about this. This makes me, I feel so much for Cassie. She is 8 months pregnant, y'all, testifying. God be with her, because we know Diddy has people everywhere. And I just hope she's genuinely okay. I hope she can testify and go home. I think Alex Fine, her husband, will be testifying. But I just hope she's okay. And this is just a lot to unlock 8 months pregnant. So some other revelations, he would, as she recalled, a party outside of Miami one time where he like literally like attacked her. There's instances where people were around too. Like the bodyguards would see, people would see, the escorts would see when he would hit her. This was a known thing and no one really talked about it, is what I got from that. She also talks about how the escort and him literally were urinating on her so much to where she choked. And I'm just like, wow, 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 wow. Disgusting. So then we have two incidents. We have a Kid Cudi incident, and then we have a Michael B. Jordan incident. So at some point she was talking to Michael B. Jordan on one of their breaks. They would have a lot of breaks because, she didn't want to do that. And I think she was filming something with Michael B. Jordan. And then there was a party happening in New York City that Diddy was hosting. Michael B. Jordan could not get into that party. Michael B. Jordan, this video is still on TMZ. Michael B. Jordan getting denied entry at the party is because Diddy knew that him and Cassie were allegedly talking or something. And then we have this incident, Kid Cudi, that she does confirm when in her testimony, where she says when they were broken up, she was talking to Kid Cudi, and he found out. He threatened Kid Cudi, obviously blew up his car. And she also confirmed that while she was dating Kid Cudi, she was still doing these freak offs, which I just find crazy. Like, she had no escape from this because, like I said, he would blow up her phone. He would have all of this heat for her, and threatening her with these videotapes that she did not want out. And a lot of times he would send her these videotapes of her at these freak offs. And remember, she doesn't remember that these are happening because she made sure she was not in her mind during these because she didn't want to be there. So a lot of times while these are happening, she doesn't know what's happening. She does not know because they took so many painkillers and all of this stuff. So a lot of times he would use the videotapes that she wouldn't even know about as ammo the next morning or as blackmail the next morning to kind of get her to do what he wants. And that's just another cycle of abuse and just how toxic this man is and how much he needs to stay in prison. Another weird story. And then we're going to wrap the Diddy and Cassie stuff up. There's like 10 minutes long. Was that a lot of times he would have the escort, I don't even know if I could say this. Let's just say the escort stuff on Cassie. He would want Cassie a lot of times to move that to his chest. Y'all can look that stuff up because that is disgusting, if you get my drift. So a lot of times that would be happening. But their relationship lasted for 11 years. This was 11 years. She was groomed. She was tricked into this cycle of like, this is normal. People do this when it was not normal at all. She was abused. She was humiliated. She was also promised a career. She had a 10-album deal with him. They only saw one. So a lot of times he was blackmailing her music career over her doing these freak offs. She did not want to do them. But initially, obviously, when the relationship started, she wanted to do anything to please him. She wanted to make him happy. It got to a point where she didn't want to keep sleeping with strangers, though. And that's that. And I don't see the defense of, well, why wouldn't she just leave him? You guys don't know, when you are in a manipulative, toxic, abusing, mentally, physically, emotionally relationship, you really are cut off from the rest of the world, where you feel like you have no one else, where you feel like you really can't, reach out to anyone. And this person makes you the star of their life. And even so much to where she would call her granddad Pop Pop. And he told her to start calling him that, even though her grandpa had passed away. This is some serious stuff. Like, this is what abusers do. I got to bring up my lights. It's getting too dark. There we go. It's a little better. I'll position my camera. But yeah, a lot of times that's what was going on. I'm also going to bring up the lights on my vanity now because the suns went down. So I guess I can bring that up as well. But yes, you are listening to What the Reality with me, Cassia Roberts. After this Diddy and Cassie stuff, we're going to get into another trial right now. This whole Halle Bailey versus DDG and the restraining order she just filed. as it literally is getting dark in my room and we're talking about like the darkest story ever. I'm like, let me turn these lights on because we're talking about the darkest story ever. And it's like the sun is setting, my lights are going. I'm like, let me turn some lights on. You are listening to What the Reality with me, Cassie Roberts. We just talked about the Diddy and Cassie of it all. Very sad story. I hope justice is served, and I hope Cassie can go on and live a better life. I also forgot to say that she did say that they did reach a settlement. She accepted $20 million from him, which I thought was huge because I think he thought he was buying her silence. Little does he know, she just was playing chess. But now we're going to move into another story because I'm basically a lawyer now because now I'm going to talk about the Haley Bailey and the DDG stuff. So I grew up watching DDG. He is a YouTuber, a streamer, and he is trying to be a rapper. I don't know how well that is going for him. His music's not great, y'all. So he is a try hard rapper, YouTube rapper. Let's just call him a YouTube rapper. And they have been dating for 2 years. I remember when they first got together, I was like, I really hate this for Hallie if it's true. So yeah, I was just like, I really hate this for you if you are with him. They were together for 2 years. She did get a baby out of him. He did get her pregnant with Halo, who is the sweetest and looks just like his mama, thankfully. Let me not say thankfully, y'all, but he looks just like Hallie. He's so cute. But yeah, so the relationship started a little bit before her Little Mermaid debut, her premiere. Such a good movie, y'all. Such a good movie and amazing. And I just even remember when she was, doing all the press around it, he was dropping songs and stuff, just saying how like she's not being faithful. She's having an affair with her co-star. He didn't like her hanging out with her co-star. He had a song just about like how he feels so jealous and everything. It was a very toxic relationship from the jump, in my opinion. And like I said, I just didn't understand how they even knew each other. So what we do know is that she slid into his DMs. And that's another thing. It's kind of like the Jonathan Owens and Simone Biles stuff. Like, I don't know why a man would be like, oh, this baddie, the girl slid into my DMs. Like, I didn't even know who she was. Because that's something Jonathan Owens said about Simone Biles, who he eventually, that's his wife. So my opinion has changed a lot on Simone Biles and Jonathan Owens ever since I saw her documentary on Netflix. It was amazing. But I'm just saying, I think it's a red flag when the guy's like, she slid into my DMs. She wanted me. And I'm just like, what are you trying to do? Like, it's just giving a little insecure. So I always felt like Hallie and DDG's relationship was very insecure based. I felt like he was very jealous of her, connections, of her career. Because like I said, he is a singer. Hallie is a singer and now a full-time actor. She is a celebrity, and I think he's just a streamer. I never understood how they got together, and I just always thought once they were together it was going to be a recipe for disaster, because I know DDG from back in YouTube days. Like, he's been trying so hard to become a celebrity that not just these YouTube blogs talk about. He wants to be someone that people's reporting on, and now I know he's happy because people is reporting on him, but it's not for a good reason. So that's a little bit about their relationship background. Together for 2 years. They did break up October 2024. They broke up because, and now we're finding out now, because they just wanted to co-parent. That's what it was giving when they did release those statements. And of course, he released a petty statement saying how he's single because he's a very petty person, very bitter, very jealous of her. Like I said, that's genuinely what I believe. But we're also finding out that in the restraining order she filed, she said that he has a history of being abusive towards her. The first incident, which we're leading up to, did not happen when she had Halo. And it never really is for abusers. It never really is. Like, they have a history of abusing. So we go back to why she was granted a temporary restraining order, which is not long enough. And while she's also filing for sole custody of him, of Halo. She's filing for sole custody because DDG has an anger problem. So there was an incident that happened in January. Like I said, they're broken up, and he's still upset that they're broken up because he doesn't have access to Beyonce and Dubai anymore, because that's the type of guy he is. Very jealous. So they're broken up, and I guess in January, he's what was I gonna say? In January, he was supposed to pick up Halo. So he comes out, and let me just pull up this story because I am confused on, I think it was drop off or it was like pickup day for him. Okay, I found it. So she said throughout our relationship and continuing to date, Daryl has been, that's his real name, Daryl has been and continues to be physically, verbally, emotionally, and then financially abusive towards me, she said. In court documents reviewed by the Times, I am seeking orders to protect myself and our son Halo from ongoing abuse. So they did grant her that. She also indicated there was a cause for concern for her son. So, like I say, he is a streamer, and a lot of times when you see Halo with him, Halo is on stream. So there was an incident, I think, in February where he was alleging that, or like March, where he was alleging that she doesn't let him see his son, which we knew was false because he was just on stream, I think a couple of days ago with his son. It's like whenever he has his son, you know it because he's on stream. And he really profits off of Halo. That's what I'm just gonna say. DDG could not wait to get somebody pregnant. He's never was looking to propose to anyone. He always talked about in all his what do you call them? YouTubes. Well, I can't think videos and his streams on live and stuff. He talks about how he can't wait to be a dad, which is a good thing. But I don't think his concept of a functional family was ever involved marriage. It always involved just having a baby with whomever. And that's why I said I hated that so much for Hallie, because he talked about that for the longest. He tried to get Kennedy. I don't know if y'all remember Kennedy from back in the day. Tried to get her pregnant. Tried to get Ruby Rose pregnant. His concept of family has never been marriage and then a baby. It's always been baby mama. Like, I don't even think he had any intent on making Hallie a full-time wife or anything. Like, that's just never been his goal. He could not wait to have a baby so he could parade this baby all over YouTube and have all these sponsors and show off how much of a good dad he is, which brings me to my next point. She said that she did not give him an advance notice to DDG because she did not want him to retaliate. So a lot of times his retaliation involves social media, inciting his fans to attack Hallie, saying how she be keeping, his kid away from him, all of this stuff. That was his tactics to getting back to her. And he has a lot of followers, y'all. He has so many followers. So, okay, yeah. I'm still reading that article. So she did not give him a heads up about, what was going on. I think she just really was collecting her evidence. And this brings me to a January incident. I'm looking for it in the article. Yeah. So, and I guess he constantly calls her the B word too. So, okay. She says this: he claims I'm withholding our son and that I am with other men, which we'll get to. As a result, I then receive threats and hate on social media. He seems to try to set up drama for his fans. He goes live ranting about me and alleges that I am keeping Halo from him. This is false. I have requested a set schedule, which he refuses. And I just hate, I will continue to say this. I hate this for Hallie because that's how he is. He uses everything for clickbait. He's very immature. I saw this coming. I mean, it is shocking about the physical abuse, but I'm not shocked that he is verbally and mentally abusive towards her, emotionally abusive. So there was a incident that happened in January. She was putting Halo in the car, asking when will he drop him off. She was been trying to get on a schedule with him. He got annoyed, angry, kept calling her the B word, has said she's also evil. And I guess so DDG went to her house. And yeah, that's when she asked when he will return, and he wouldn't give her an answer. That's when she grew frustrated. She said, quote unquote, the discussion continued as I walked with him outside to assist to put Halo into the car seat. I was buckling the baby into his seat and physically got into the back seat to adjust the car seat. I had left my front door open and was not even fully dressed as I was not wearing shoes. And then Daryl kept repeating, "Get out of my car, B." Halo was crying. Bailey said she was nervous leaving the baby with her agitated ex and repeatedly pleaded with him to stop calling her a B. Then the argument escalated, she said. The next thing I knew, things got physical between us. We fought each other, wrestling and tussling. At one point, Daryl was pulling my hair. He then slammed my face on the steering wheel, causing my tooth to get chipped. I then stopped fighting back as I was in a lot of pain, Bailey wrote. I wanted to get out of the car with Halo, but was now stuck. Daryl then said that since I would not leave the baby in the car, he would take me with them. He drove quickly towards his house. When we arrived at his house, I was crying and told his family what happened. I begged his family who were there to help me figure out a schedule with him. They said, just leave Halo and go. I left hysterical. I have bruises over my arms and a chipped tooth. Bailey also detailed a violent incident on March 7th that ended up with her filing a police report. She and Halo were homesick with RSV when DDG came over to see his son, whom Bailey, these are not in quotes, I'm just reading from an article. This is LA Times, whom Bailey didn't want to leave the house because of the illness. That angered DDG, she said, and he started yelling and calling her names. He then saw that the Ring camera was recording. He unplugged the Ring camera, opened the side door, and threw the Ring camera out of my home. I went outside to retrieve the Ring camera. He then locked me out of my house. So, quote unquote, I went around the back and came into the house through another entrance. I plugged the camera back and then called my family member for help with her on the phone line. I'm assuming that was her sister. I repeatedly asked Daryl to please leave. I told him he was being rude and I was too sick to deal with him. He would not leave. When he realized that my family member was on the phone line, he became enraged. Around this time, I noticed that he also saw the Ring camera was back on. So he smashed the camera. I have this recorded and will bring the recording to the hearing. I guess he ran out of the house with her phone after that. She was begging him to give her phone back. He got in his car, closed the door. And while I was holding Halo, Daryl then drove off and threw my phone out the window and yelled, "Go get it, B." And then she filed a police report. So they are supposed to be appearing in court May 30th for a mediation teleconference to determine custody or visitation if the two fail to come with a plan before then using online court tools. A court hearing is scheduled for June 4th. And I remember, he was on live actually yesterday, because when isn't he on live? And he was reacting in live time to that. And he basically was like, there's no way that this is true. He said this isn't true. His little friend was on YouTube live saying this is a real father. He takes care of his kid. No one's questioning the validity of you taking care of your kid. Just because you are a good father, in air quotes, does not mean you are a good person or a good co-parent or a good boyfriend, because she's saying multiple instances have happened leading up to this. He's been abusive towards her. And I will say Ruby Rose, who is a rapper, has also alleged the same thing. Like, she had bruises on her arm. So that is that story. You are listening to What the Reality with me, Cassie Roberts. We're about to get into the Valley and Summer House. I have two more topics I didn't want to touch on. Like I said, this is a celebrity episode. So we're going to talk about Chris Brown. Chris Brown was arrested. And I just love how he's arrested after he posted, quote unquote, free Tory from his, y'all, this is my fan. I'm so hot. Like, I'm so hot. This is my nice fan. And I don't even think this microphone picks up on it. But what was I going to say? He posted free Tory on his IG story. And then I guess like 10 hours later, he was arrested in the UK from an incident back in 2023 where he apparently like smashed a bottle, like a liquor bottle or something, on someone's head. I think it was like a producer or a DJ in the club. So he's currently in jail, or he may have been out on bond, but it's just so funny how he posted free Tory and then not even 24 hours later, you're in jail. Speaking of free Tory Lanez, I talked about this on my last episode, how he was stabbed. So we found out he was stabbed 14 times. He's in the hospital recovering, in good spirits, apparently, reporting from his father. He's currently serving a 10-year sentence for shooting Megan Thee Stallion. For some reason, because of this hospitalization, people now want to bring back up the fact that he should not be in prison in the first place. And now all of a sudden, Kelsey, who is Megan Thee Stallion's ex-best friend, is saying, well, the Kelsey's bodyguard is saying Tory did not shoot Megan, it was Kelsey. And he's been wanting to say that to clear his conscience, but he just hasn't had the chance. And now all of a sudden, now that Tory Lanez is in prison, he wants to clear his conscience. Do I believe that? No. Why all of a sudden, because Tory Lanez is in prison, we got people coming out of the woodwork saying who really shot her? This closes case. This closes case. This case is closed, y'all. Like, this case has been done. What? It's been done. And now we're talking about he's in the hospital. I hope he recovers, like I said, so he can finish the rest of his prison sentence. Now we're trying to bring back up how Megan was lying the whole time and he shouldn't even be in prison. Y'all, he's in prison. And I don't believe this security guard. This is very random. This is very convenient that because he's in the hospital, all of a sudden we're going to talk about the fact that he didn't do it again. Are we really going to bring that up again? Really? Okay. I guess we're bringing it up again. They're trying to bring it up again. It's so weird to me. So weird. You are listening to What the Reality with me, Cassie Roberts. We're going to get into some recaps right before we talk about this. Justin Bieber is allegedly broke. Let me go to my Twitter receipt. Okay, so it says, according to TMZ, Scooter Braun allegedly tried to stop Justin Bieber and his wife, Hailey Bieber, from selling Justin's music catalog for $200 million. I remember when that happened. I thought that was like a fake story. TMZ's investigators also revealed that while Bieber was on tour, Hailey allegedly requested that his team upgrade her jet to the size of one of Kylie Jenner's private jets because she was not taking the lesser jet. They offered her a smaller aircraft anyways, and she rejected it. Then TMZ also claims after multiple audits were done, it was revealed that Justin Bieber allegedly owes Braun approximately $9 million and AEG and Hybe $32 million. They say Bieber is so broke that he had to borrow his pastor's credit card to go golfing. TMZ's investigators say that Hailey Bieber versus Selena Gomez drama is one-sided on the Bieber's end. Sources claim Selena Gomez is constantly on Hailey's mind. So the more I read that, I don't know how true that is. But I did see that from TMZ. Scooter Braun. I don't know how true that is. Now we're bringing up the Selena Gomez stuff. Like, what does that have to do with anything? With him being broke? Okay, that might be a false story, y'all. Sorry. False story of the day. Fake news. What Carol Radswell say, hashtag fake news. And then also, of course, The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives is out, y'all. It might take me a while to watch that. They did drop the full season. I don't know if I'm going to have time this weekend, but I am going to try to watch a couple episodes before Monday's show so we can talk about it a little bit because the girls are back. Also, Forever on Netflix, I'm hearing is really good by Mara Brock Ali, the creator of Girlfriends, also the creator of The Game. She created Forever. That's another show I need to get into. And so last episode we talked about RHONY cancellation rumors. Apparently those are false. That was also hashtag fake news in my Carol Radswell voice. Apparently RHONY is casting and Andy and Bravo execs just looked at 10 possible women. So they are not going off air. It looks like Erica is not getting demoted, unfortunately. What is going on in Bravo? I don't know. But let's get into some Bravo recaps. I watched The Valley, Summer House, and I watched both Watch What Happens Lives. Nothing really eventful happened in either of them besides Jesse continuing to lie. You can try to figure out what Jesse I'm talking about. Let's start with the Valley recap. So let's just talk about what happened in this episode. So they're still in Santa Barbara. Is this the third episode now? I think the next episode they'll be back from Santa Barbara. So this is their last one. They're all going to a winery. Danny is currently not there. He shows up to the winery later and he hops right in. At the winery, I think Britt got a text message from Jag saying that he is now bipolar, not depressed. Jax is texting her because he knows she's going to bring it up on film. Then he's like, hey, they're mentioning me on this episode I'm not in. Maybe I can reason with Bravo to give me some money. He knows she's going to bring it up. That's why he is constantly texting her. And I wish Brittany would stop giving into the bait. Brittany needs to stop doing a lot of stuff this episode. That's that. So, like I said, Danny shows up late because he had to work. He has 3 kids. He has 4 kids now. He is a working man. Nia doesn't work. She does her pageant stuff, but she doesn't get paid as much as he gets paid for doing his voice acting stuff. So he is a very stressed out guy. I already know he's stressed out. He's also in that little apartment. He wants to move to Santa Clarita or whatever. They did move. That's an update. I'm just talking about when they're filming. So he gets to the winery and dives right in. He is throwing these wine shots back. He is gargling with one of them. It's actually disgusting. But leading up to that, we get their whole van breaking down. We get Nia on the phone call with Danny, and it seems as though they are having an argument. She raises her voice. She's like, you're going to listen to your wife. Something happened there that we're really not talking about, but whatever. So it seemed like she turned it on and turns it off. I know a lot of women that do that. I just know a lot of people that do that. But she doesn't realize she's on a reality TV, and they did just catch the last 10 seconds of you talking to him like, you're going to do this. Like, it was giving, Danny, what are you talking about on that phone? Anyway, so he shows up. He's like, let me dive right in. I got to catch up with y'all because I know y'all been drinking. Jesse has finished 2 bottles of champagne. He can't wait to get to the winery because he loves to order a good $1,000 bottle of wine when he can't afford it. So Danny and Jesse are both on that crap. They're both like, let's get tore up. Let's both make the women in our lives suffer. Basically, that is what they're on. So then we get fast forward to after the winery. They come back home. Danny sneaks into the pantry to drink tequila out of the bottle. And he goes in with Janet and closes the door, which I'm like, what is going on? But Janet said she was grabbing her mac and cheese cups. Oh, Janet. She was grabbing her mac and cheese cups. And then he comes in behind her. And I guess he was looking for something. He sees a bottle of tequila. He downs it real quick. He takes sips from the bottle. So Janet said that made her feel uncomfortable. I don't know why it made it feel uncomfortable. I would just be like, oh, dang, you're a little weird. Like, you're on that time. That's what I would be like. That made her feel uncomfortable. I guess she tells Nia. Fast forward to a dinner. I got to go back to Jesse and Michelle, but that's a whole other thing. Fast forward to dinner. I just want to get out this Danny issue first. Fast forward to their dinner. The private chef, Jesse, has come. Danny does not leave that bed. He is tired and drunk. I think he was both. I definitely think he was tired and drunk because he had to come back up there after leaving, join them, trying to catch up with them, and he was lit. He comes back to meet them, and now he's asleep. He's not even going to come to dinner. So Nia just lets him sleep. I mean, what else is she going to do? So I guess that's the issue for the people at the table is like, what else can she do? Because she decides not to wake him up and bring him. They're like, well, why don't you try to bring him? Why don't you try to get him up? And she has a issue. Oh, man. And she has an issue. Let me see. But yes, I think that's the issue the other ladies have for some weird reason, especially Brittany. She's upset that they aren't talking about the fact that he's extremely lit. Whatever. And then we get the ladies talking about Nia as soon as she leaves. It's super cold outside. She's like, come on, Michelle, let's go. So we get Brittany's really upset and Jasmine's really upset. Jasmine is still holding on to this narrative that Danny is a weirdo and a creep, which I get because he was super drunk. He was touching your thigh and then touching your girlfriend's butt. I get that. But I'm like, didn't y'all hash that out? Why are we still talking about it? You've brought it up multiple times. It just seems like Jasmine's looking for a storyline. Because I'm like, why are we still talking about it? We get it. But he didn't do anything this episode. He just crashed out. People are saying he has a drinking problem. Okay, so the first, I would say no, just because, it was a winery. Of course, you go to a winery to get lit. I would say, though, he has a drinking problem. The fact that he's sneaking tequila in the pantry. Like, why don't you bring it out, take a shot? Like, what are you hiding? Which tells me this has been a conversation between you and Nia before. So that's that. The ladies start talking about Nia. Nia confronts Brittany. I've never seen Nia confront her or anything. She was like, so because your life sucks, you have to attack mine. And that's on period. Because Brittany, I'm pretty sure I remember you having an issue with Jax telling everyone in the house that you're an alcoholic, that you drink too much, you don't know when enough's enough. Last season, you went off on him when they were on some baby moon trip. It was so dumb. It was a baby moon trip. I'm just saying it's dumb because if I'm doing a baby moon, I just want to do it with my significant other, not a bunch of people. But you had an issue when Jax was doing that to you last season. So now that you're like, why don't you talk about it? Why don't you be real? Do I think Nia and Danny act like everything's 110 all the time? Yes. But I think Brittany got it confused. I think she thinks because she dated Jackson, she's going through a difficult time. Everyone has to support her now. She's like, I'm going through a difficult time. Why do I have to be honest about what's going on in my life? I don't know if Nia and Danny have figured out that drinking situation. I think drinking is very touchy, just like clearly his cocaine problem was a very touchy situation that it took years for y'all to be honest about. So it's like, give people grace. I feel like Brittany was looking for a storyline and she was like, what can I bring up? What can I talk about? Because my storyline is in rehab. That's what I think. That's what I think. And then we get Jesse and Michelle. So Jesse and Michelle do confront the whole hooker comment at the winery. And Michelle's basically really upset. I understand why she's upset. Michelle is very persistent on Jesse has a money problem and he spent all their money. Some gay man has sent Jesse some Venmo, something to a point where even Andy, that's the only thing I want to talk about with Watch What Happens Live. Andy was like, why is this gay man sending you money? Are you the hooker, basically? Because you made this whole thing that Michelle's a hooker. Why is the gay man sending you money? Jesse said it was because it was his birthday. Gets brought back up at Watch What Happens Live. And Andy's like, well, how much did he send you for your birthday? And Jesse gets so defensive. Like, he's like, I mean, he was like, why are we still talking about this? He was like, I mean, guess. And then Andy's like, 500. And then he's like, nope, guess again. And he's like, 700. He's like, I mean, you got to go higher than that. And he's like, well, I'm not about to keep guessing. He was like, how much did he give you? He was like, he didn't give me anything, but you can give me some money. Or he said something very slick. And Andy's like, I'm not sending you money. Like, it was just like, why are you getting so upset if you said your friend who happens to be gay? And then he also tries to make it a thing like that. He's like, why does it matter if he's gay or straight? Why is a gay man cash apping you money? Because you are a straight man. That's just the question. Like, is this your friend? Because the way Michelle said it was like, you don't even know this guy. So then it is low-key giving, are you the hooker? Are you the hooker, Jesse? Because it would make a lot of sense if he was. But I like Jesse. Jesse is catching strays over here because I was just confused. Like, why is this man sending you this? Do you know him? But he's like, he sent it to me for my birthday. But I'm like, why aren't we just saying this is your friend? Very odd, very bizarre to me. But that's essentially that episode. Michelle does douse Jesse with some water. She's like, take that. I think she's sick of his stuff. And I don't blame her. I mean, that's the mother of your child. You're going to regret that. He's very upset that she has moved on. But I also do think she did cheat on him. There was some sort of cheating, emotional, physical. The honey bottles is a little sus. But I think he still loves her. He still loves her because he did not have an issue saying 3 things that Andy asked him about during this episode of Watch What Happens Live. He didn't have any issue pointing out some stuff that he missed or loved about Michelle. But that's my recap for the Valley. Let's get into Summer House. Summer House is reaching its end. I'm ready for it to be over. I just had to exhale because I'm just like, oh, okay. There we go. You are listening to What the Reality with me, Cassie Roberts. We're getting into this Summer House recap. We are on the second from last episode. So the next episode will be the last episode. Thank God, because I am so over this Lexi and Jesse situation that has been on our screens for the past 15 episodes. I'm just so over it. So what happens during this episode? So Lexi decides to break up with Jesse again. So she already broke up with him the previous episode, and then they got back together very quickly. Now she's like, let's get back together. But this is all stemming from her untrusting him. I mean, we'd had the huge toe sucking thing, and then we just have him getting caught up in lies. So I guess she texts him on, and then of course talking crap about her. So I guess she texted him that Tuesday. I mean, they had a date on Tuesday. They come to the summer house on a Friday. So I guess she texts him Thursday, like, hey, my friend's over. Like, do you want to come over? We're just like drinking or something, relaxing. And this was at 9:00. And I guess he texted her, no, I can't. I'm getting a manicure. At 9:30, he's getting a manicure. I don't live in New York City. The manicures are out at 9:00, I guess. You can still get it. Where I'm at, most salons close at 7 p.m. The latest, maybe 8 p.m. You're not making an appointment at 9 p.m. You're cleaning the salon at 9 p.m., getting it ready for the next day. So she just thought that was weird and thought he was lying. And that just rubbed her the wrong way. I don't blame her. That would rub me the wrong way as well. So we get that. And then we get them hashing it out. They do not talk about Sierra, and I say that for a reason. They did not talk about Sierra. I feel like my webcam keeps flickering, and I'm like, why does it keep flickering? So they have their conversation. She just says she does not trust him. Like I said, we do not blame you, Lexi. Jesse's been moving mad weird. And I also say my opinion on Jesse, I just feel like everything he does is super performative for that moment that Wes got last season. Wes got a huge moment. The girls was in his DMs. The girls was calling his phone. Like, he just had a huge moment. So I think ever since then, and even, like I said, Lexi went on Nick Val's podcast and said that some red flags, which I don't know why you would stick around after that, but I'm just glad she did catch on eventually. But he did make several comments saying how, like, Wes got famous because he effed over Sierra. If a man I'm seeing is saying that as I'm coming into a house, that would be a red flag. He also said you cannot trust anyone in this house except for me. Jesse was on a mission to become Wes. And it's so funny to me because he still got second chair at Watch What Happens Live. He still didn't get first chair. Wes Wilson was still sitting first chair, even though he didn't even say much this season. So that's that. And then I just also think, like I said, he's low-key envious of Wes. He wishes he did come in so he could have this narrative about Sierra. And I just think he thought he would have been more famous than Wes because he was hoping his veneers and his smiles would carry him on, but it didn't because Wes actually has a good personality, even though I can't stand Wes sometimes. And last season, I just felt like he was such a F-boy and Sierra should have saw that coming, but he has a good personality. The girls like Wes for some reason. Whatever. Also, his fashion did step up a lot this season. I'm not gonna lie. He was stunting. So they get their breakup. Jesse acting like he's devastated, like he didn't see this coming. Also, I do think it's interesting how on the drive up with Wes, Jesse says he can't wait to date outside of the house. So I took that as I can't wait to date other women outside of Lexi, knowing this season's going to be big for me. But I guess on Watch What Happens Live, he was saying, I can't wait to leave the house with Lexi. I just don't think he really liked Lexi. I think he was really using her for a storyline for his, like, you know, Sierra West moment. That's what I genuinely believe. But he's saying he was really hoping, like, he could have had his moment or whatever. Do we believe that? Let me know if we believe that. So what else happens? Kyle is shockingly asking for more deets. So Jesse comes in and tells the guys what happened, and they're like, oh my gosh, like we kind of figured. And Jesse kind of figured too, because he felt like her energy and her vibes was off. So he kind of figured that something was going to happen. But he's like, why get back together with me? I don't know why she did that either. I'm like, okay, I don't really understand what you were doing there, Lexi. But he tells the people, Paige comes in, and Lexi basically tells them she broke up with him. I also don't like Amanda, but I never really liked Amanda. But Amanda is giving so condescending to me. So when Lexi initially comes in the house to tell her, because Lindsay and Gabby already know she's planning on breaking up with him. because she didn't want him touching her. She just didn't want to be involved with him right now because she was so icked out by him. So she's telling them she's going to be breaking up with him. Amanda comes in and she's like, what did he do now? But I will say, in Amanda's defense, in her confessional, she is supporting Lexi. And she's like, I'm glad, like, hey, you're young, move on to the next. I also think a part of Amanda's like, why didn't I do that with Kyle? Because why am I still with Kyle? But Kyle did win me over these last couple episodes because he was just like standing up for Sierra. He was like, well, Jesse, you can't really compare the Sierra and Wes situation. It has nothing, y'all situation is totally different. Wes actually screwed her over romantically. Like you and Sierra, like you could just tell. I think Kyle's getting fed up with Jesse. You cannot tell me he's not getting fed up with him. I think he's like, you're not telling the whole story. So then when Jesse comes back to tell the story about why Lexi and him broke up, he's like, you know, she said XYZ because Sierra and me hung out at the US Open and had a good time, and she doesn't understand how me and Sierra are cool again, given how rude she was to her and Wes. And then Sierra's in the room now and she's like, when was I rude to Lexi? And then Kyle's like, well, is that it? Because it just didn't seem like a full story. Like, tell your whole truth. But it didn't seem real. It really didn't. And he was like, no, that's kind of why we broke up. Kyle goes down to tell Lexi. They never mentioned Sierra in that conversation. Maybe on Tuesday's date they did. But she said the only reason they mentioned it because, and she puts him on blast at the dinner table. She's like, because Sunday you told me you cannot stand Sierra and you're not really liking her. And then Tuesday we're going on a date and you're telling me y'all are cool all of a sudden. And she's like, no offense, Sierra, but I don't trust you given what Jesse has told me. So that's really how the episode goes. But she only finds this information out because Lindsay is throwing a freedom dinner. Lindsay Hubbard, I love the woman you are. I was saying her name wrong this whole time, y'all. I was saying Hubbard. It's Hubbard with a D, right? I don't know. Yes, with a D. So she's throwing a freedom dinner. She posted this paragraph long Instagram. It was a book. What Amanda say? It was a book. About August 30th being an anniversary of Carl dumping her and how it just led her to live her dreams. You know, she's pregnant. She's with this new guy, all of this stuff. So she's grateful that he broke up. And then she and this is why I'm like, Lindsay, I need you on my screen. Was she one of the 10 women that Andy and Bravo execs were meeting with? Was she one of the 10 women? I hope so, because I guess RHONY's not canceled. They're just on a pause. They're trying to get their cast together. I don't think Bren and Uber are coming back, though. I really don't. So she pivots it to, you know, who else is free? Lexi and Jesse, because they've decided to separate. And I just felt like that was such a good pivot. I'm like, she's just such a good anchor. And everyone's coughing, like just awkward. And Carl also has his 2 cents to say. When doesn't Carl? He's literally a wet blanket. We can get rid of him. I'm so sick of Carl. But she pivots it to them and she's like, I know y'all are free from each other. And then we get into the mess. And that is when Lexi confronts Jesse, like I just talked about, which was really good. I'm glad she was kind of reading him. She was like, you just told me Sierra is not your friend. You're not really digging her. And now I see you Tuesday. Y'all was at the US Open on Monday. What sense does that make? And she had a valid point. She had a very valid point. I think Jesse is performative, and I think he is waiting for a moment, but I do not think he will be as famous as Wes. Wes is also working at Complex, so he's getting the opportunity to really like meet different people. We don't even know what Jesse does. I feel like he's also in sales like Carl was. Like they're literally like the same. Like Kyle is more famous than Carl. But I think Jesse is trying so hard to get up under Wes' shadow now. I even think Wes is getting sick of him. I think some of the guys are acting weird. We also had Emerald back in this episode, which was weird to see because I'm like, where have you been? But that was the episode. So we talked about Diddy of it all. I got into the nit and gritty of that. Very serious situation, very serious topic. We talked about Halle Bailey and DDG, the restraining order of it all. We talked about Justin Bieber growing broke. And of course, RHONY, the rumors were fake. I'm so upset. It's coming back. Hopefully with some new women that aren't just so worried about their image. And hopefully without Bryn, 110%. And then, of course, we recapped the Valley and Summer House. Thank you so much for listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. We're going to get into Real Housewives of Atlanta, of course. But thank you so much. And this was What the Reality with me, Cassie Roberts. Period. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast, What the Reality with me, Cassie Roberts. Don't forget to leave a 5-star rating and a comment wherever you listen to your podcast. Let me know what I should be doing. Let me know how I'm doing. All compliments are welcome. Until the next time.